now, man.
By the way, Charlie Chaplin really did feel that way.
I'm sure he did.
In
I
real
bet
life,
he
no,
did.
in real, but I'm saying even before we knew the full extent, like I'm talking about mid-30s, before World War II, he was like, "Oh man, this guy totally co-opted." It's like if somebody horrific started rocking the Gumby, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden,
Besides
the Gumby
kid or play.
Oh man, imagine Isaac Hayes at a Bulls game, and everybody's like, "Oh man, you try to be like Mike." He's like, "No,
no,
I'm Black Moses. What are you talking about?" This is the Inconsistent Podcast with Rob Hayes. I'm here joined by the One Song Podcast.
One Song Boys in the building. OSB.
New theme song right there, too. I prefer that.
You know this song, right?
No, with the beep, bam, 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 that remix. We got to use that. Yeah. But no, I do not know this.
This is Jackson 5.
This is Jackson 5.
I don't know this
5,
one.
And this is a song that Biggie famously... Well, I guess Biggie didn't technically sample it. Who produced that track? Do we know?
One of the hitmen, right?
It had to be, right?
Right.
Okay, I'm sure the internet will connect this.
This is a Diddy thing?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's the remix to All About the Benjamins. When the Biggie verse starts, it goes to a sample of that Jackson 5 song.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the first time I heard it, and then when I finally heard the Jackson 5 song, I was like, "Oh snap!" Like I heard the Biggie version first.
Right.
Yeah.
No, me too. There was this blog, Two Dope Boys. And
Oh,
then they
yeah.
had the Mecca's Soul Mix show, and then from that, I would just find out who samples were from, and they would just post the
Two
song.
Dope Boys used to have a lot of power with that blog. A lot of power.
Yeah.
I used to love Two Dope Boys. But is that where you got a lot of your samples? Because I'll tell you, to this day, DJ Who Kid, and I'm not just saying it because he's in the Sirius XM family, DJ Who Kid will still play like a set, and I'll hear a song, I'll be like, why wasn't I even looking for that sample? I didn't even know that was a sample. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
There's still people who can surprise you.
Diallo, Luxxury, you guys have a podcast. It's all about music, about one song. You guys met at a birthday party?
Okay, so first off, thanks for having us, Rob.
Yeah,
and
thanks
me
for
and,
coming
me and
through.
Rob
Fun
have
to
worked
be here.
on a lot of hours of TV that we won't mention by name, but and we're both from Atlanta, Georgia, and we both went to the same high school.
No way.
Yeah.
We went to the same high school.
Yeah.
Did you know about each other or different eras?
Different eras.
Different
I think that I
eras,
was.
okay.
I think we didn't have iPads when I was there.
Okay. But was he...
We didn't have iPads when I was there either.
I'm just saying, I think
but
we were-
had Internet Explorer.
I think we had Candlelight when I was there. We had Candlelight.
Okay.
Was he like a legend when he left? Like, did you know about him or
Man,
no?
I hadn't done anything yet.
There were
Graduated.
some other people in Diallo's class that were pretty legendary.
Who else in my class? Who
Like,
else was legendary?
CeeLo?
Oh yeah. Well, he was a year older than me.
Okay,
He was
all
a
right.
year
Well,
above me.
the class
yeah.
after Diallo's really shined.
Yeah. I would.
Goody Mob and a guy named Brian Hooker were the only people who were real famous. But that's not actually true because Chili went to
Chili,
our school.
yes.
Chili from TLC.
Okay.
Rosanda, who had to adopt a C nickname in order for TLC to
For
work.
TLC to work. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Did you interact with or have any stories about like Goody Mob or like
Oh,
CeeLo?
well, Goody Mob, absolutely.
Yeah.
I got a lot of good, I got a lot of Goody Mob stories. But I miss that Atlanta because that is the Atlanta that it's sort of a different city now. But like that was in Atlanta where people were generally. I know that there was beef between Jeezy and Gucci. There's professional beef. In the whole T.I. Ludacris era. But like overall, like pretty much everybody supported everybody else, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Outkast and Goody Mob and the whole Dungeon family. Shout out to Rico and Sleepy and them, all them cats. Like, I really do feel like that everybody was supportive and happy to see, especially Zone 4. I feel like Zone 4 was very cohesive. That's where we're from, Southwest Atlanta. Southwest Atlanta, too strong. I don't want to take up any oxygen. It occurs to me. Sorry, guys. There's a spaceship building factory next door.
I'm sorry.
No. I love this. I feel like, Luxury and I did meet at a birthday party through a mutual friend, and that was it. Like, it was just like, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. During the pandemic, I started watching his TikTok videos because he was breaking down all these songs from, Stevie Wonder to, Britney Spears. Some artists I loved and some artists I didn't even care about. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, he was playing the stems, the individual pieces of each song. And I would just hit him up being like, oh, hey, I actually know a little bit about that too that you may not know for your next video. And we would intend on talking for 5 minutes, but we would end up talking for like 60 minutes. And so
a whole podcast already.
Exactly. And we're like, we got to save these and sell them to someone.
Yeah.
No. It was that stereotypical thing where it's like, why are we wasting hours of our lives when we could be recording it and wasting hours of everybody else's lives? But just to sum up that story, at one point I did an episode of a Snoop Dogg show, and Kevin Hart's people were there, and they were like, hey, we want to do a podcast. You seem like somebody who's got some, like the South, you got something to say.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, instead of these influencers that you're thinking about and professional podcasters, I was like, yo, let me introduce you to this guy named Luxury. I think he's really funny and smart, and he's got his big following on TikTok. Check him out. They checked him out. They loved him, and now we got a podcast.
That's
Here we
fire.
are. That's our story.
And Luxury, how did you get your hand on these stems? Like,
Right.
are you in the recording studio in the shadows stealing files?
No, but I know the guys who are.
Are you like is your
I'm
middle
on the
name
Discord
Napster?
I'm on the Discord with those guys. No, I mean, I'm a music producer, songwriter. I came to LA because I have a project called Luxury that's just my music project.
Yeah.
It's sort of disco, funk, whatever. Kind of channeled through like post-punk, so it's like the Clash version of funk more than it is the Barry White version. And so I was making music, and I started to collect stems because I had a friend who brought some over one day because I was remixing a song for my buddy. And he's like, he just came over one day. He's like, I think you might like these. And it was, I'll never forget the first batch because he gave me Staying Alive by the Bee Gees,
Wow.
Side 2 of Sgt. Pepper, Bob Marley tune, and one more. Oh, Under Pressure. So we got the
Without
first
the
time,
ting?
without the what?
Like the Vanilla Ice version, there's a little ting in there.
There's an extra ding. Dun, 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 dun. It's an extra dun.
yeah.
I think in musicology terms, we call that a dun.
Okay,
It's an
a
extra
dun.
dun.
Yeah.
No, I got all those. And the first time you listen to all this stuff, and it's just like, you're only hearing the isolated vocals, you're only hearing the isolated drums, bass, whatever it is. And you've heard these songs a bajillion times. You never need to hear Under Pressure again, if you've been hearing it for 40 years like I have. But the first time you hear it, like just the acapella, and you can really picture like Freddie here and David there. You can really that mental picture
if you can isolate
in your mind.
Freddie Mercury's vocals, and just like
hearing them sing.
blast them joints in a headphone. It's just a different thing. You're like, this is a once in a lifetime.
It's like you're in the room the
Wow.
day it happened. Like that's the magic of it. So that got me hooked, and I just started collecting them. And then I was like, well, I want to do something with them. So I started making edits, kind of like old school style remixes, where I would keep the existing parts, but just let them breathe. Because in the old days, the first remixes were just longer versions of the song, and you'd have long sections with just the drums and bass, and then they kind of throw in the keyboards that start. These days, so many remixes are like a completely different song with the original vocal.
I like both, by the way.
I like both, and both can work.
Yeah.
But I just hadn't heard that type of remix in a while, especially since I had this magic trick, really, of being able to bring out stuff you had never heard in the original before. So that, to me, was the real twist. Like, no one has ever noticed that there's this crazy, sick funk bass line in the Foreigner song Urgent. Like, who knew? Like, I was like my little archaeology dig. I was like, this needs to be brought up to the top. This is insane.
Yeah.
So long answer short, this man's on the dark web.
Okay.
But the good dark web.
He's on
The
Silk
good
Road.
dark web.
It's not
Yeah.
that guy went to jail or got killed. Something bad happened to that Silk Road dude. Like, I'm really bad.
None of my information is backed up.
This is not a factual thing. This is just fun speculation.
Cool. So, okay, I would ask you both, what's one song, if you never had to hear again, you would be happy?
Dang.
Like it's just been played so much.
I gotta throw something under the bus, huh?
Not under the bus, just you.
Because it's always my
personally.
luck. Anytime I
It
go
can
on the
still
record,
exist.
listen.
It's not one's gotta go. Just like say, everyone else hears it. It's a silent party for you.
Just go
Okay.
old. Someone
Yeah.
definitely like Al
It's
Jolson
just-
or someone
It's
safe.
just
Like,
deleted from your.
we will not talk
existence.
about Al Jolson
No,
today.
Who's Al Jolson?
Exactly.
Okay.
Al Jolson is like weirdly
we
kind
know.
of the most popular entertainer of the first half of the 20th century and completely forgotten about after
he was the first
1951.
white guy.
Blackface.
He was the first white guy to
Oh.
do something black, and all the white people were like, "Hooray!" Damn.
We
Let's
don't
see.
really talk about the first half of the
Yeah,
of
we
the
don't talk
20th
about that.
century.
1949, we're not interested.
You know,
By the way, on our
everything
podcast-
before White Christmas, we really don't talk about.
Sorry, Bing Crosby. I don't know. You want to go first? What's the song that you?
I mean,
never
the
need to
obvious
hear
one
again?
for me is like it's part of my myth making backstory is I'm not the biggest Eagles fan. Hotel California.
Okay.
No one
Okay.
needs to really hear that.
Mhm.
And this plays into my story because I did a remix of that because I was like, I'm going to do something where a song nobody would ever play at a cool club, we'll play it. So I took Hotel California and I turned Don Henley into like put a robot voice on him, vocoder style, like Roger Troutman is not vocoder, but like that idea.
Yeah.
So make it sound cool. And I slowed the beat down and I took out all the garbage in the middle. And that actually kind of worked. It kind of got me a name in DJ circles. But the reason I did that, because no one ever needs to hear that song ever again in its original
Okay.
form. That's my
Okay.
answer. Yeah.
Song
No,
that
no,
song
still
that goes
thinking.
away forever. Or
It's a tough
I don't,
one.
Or I don't need to hear it.
It
again.
just goes away for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
else
yeah, yeah.
could hear it, and you're
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, that song must be playing." Because I don't
I'm not
hear
gonna lie,
anything
man.
right
There are
now.
a lot of songs that qualify. No, seriously, there are a lot of songs. I think they're actually
Yeah.
really good songs. I've just heard them too many times in my life.
Right.
Does
There's
that make
certain
sense?
songs I can'd go up for, and like I would, it'd have to
Throw
be
it out
like
there.
an alien that had never heard music before. Then
Uh-huh.
I'd be like, all right, I'll turn
Yeah.
up this last time.
Yeah.
Or someone who never like heard music around people,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're like, oh, this is my first time. Like a mannequin coming into life type of situation. Like
An alien or a mannequin coming to life.
Yeah,
Like the movie Mannequin, you would
Yes.
play this song.
Right.
Right.
If this song came on and this person started going up, like I feel like what my generation has done to the Frankie Beverly and Maze song Before I Let Go.
Is that
it's
on the
like,
list?
It's like one of those things where it's like there's so many other old songs that we could
There's so
go
many
up
other songs by
for
that artist.
that could signify
Yeah.
like having a good time and listening to older music that are timeless that we
Wow.
ignore. And it's almost become a thing where like people are going up for nostalgia for the nostalgia. Like remember that other time that they played this in an old school mix and we had a good time, But Alien Mannequin Come to Life, they're like, oh man.
You give it one last
I'm
play.
like, yeah, let's do
Before
another
I let
round.
go.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, what about the Beyonce version though?
The Beyonce version didn't help. It did not help. And I love Beyonce. Shout out to Beyonce.
Yeah, we're not doing. I'm still wearing silver.
Right.
I'm still wearing silver.
I had a blast at Renaissance. But also, like, she cares.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't have to care like she does. She could have just did one song after. She's mixing and mashing
my
up
God.
songs.
Absolutely.
She's pulling her stems out and and putting different stuff together. Like I was like, oh, she's avoiding the hard part of Plastic Off the Sofa. Good for her. Sing this
Yeah.
medley. I don't even care.
Yeah.
Then she comes back. Does the hard part. I'm like, oh, I thought she was running away from that. She just
She's just making it interesting because they heard it the regular way.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that because we did a Beyonce episode, which hasn't come out yet. We were just talking about the exact same thing you just said, how she, like, for the live stuff, the way she mixes it up and the way she kind of adds little interpolations, little moments from a JC's. I think when she did, like, there was a Jackson 5 moment, right? And at first I was like, oh, it's I Want You Back. But then it's like, then it was the Jay-Z verse, I think. Like, I don't know if I misheard that at the show at Renaissance. Did
Well,
that happen?
you went on her birthday. You went on Monday.
Oh, different,
Oh, yeah.
different set list.
I'm not rich like that. I had to go on. I had to sell for Friday night.
Was Friday less expensive? I didn't know this. I would have done Friday too.
When they
I
had
had no
when they
idea.
had microphone problems for Lil Wayne.
yeah.
Lil Wayne couldn't even really get them before.
We got
I'm
microphone
even
problems
less
for
rich
Diana
'cause I
Ross.
went in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that still counts.
Yeah, there was one celebrity at our show, Winnie Harlow, and
There you go.
everybody was watching Winnie Harlow leave. Yeah.
Wow. No, the night I went, they had Roddy Ricch. He had some earpiece problems. They had Wiz Khalifa. I think
Here, Lil Wayne.
I heard
he did Young, Wild, and Free, and the crowd went nuts.
But then I heard he did "See You Again."
Yes.
and then the crowd was just like, "Yo, we're here to party, man! Like,
We're not here to be
yeah,
sad. No,
we're not wearing silver because we love the Fast and the Furious."
That's actually really good. No, and then Wayne got out there, and the crowd went crazy.
Okay,
The crowd went absolutely crazy.
I bet.
And it was really sad because the whoever was in charge of the sound, like, I guess he couldn't hear himself or something, so he's not rapping. He's just standing on stage smiling. And then, like, you could tell, like, they had certain moments planned in the track because out of nowhere you just hear his voice, even though his lips were moving. You hear his voice go, "Yeah!" You're like, wait a second.
Oh, there's drops.
There were drops. There were drops in the track,
Yeah.
and I just felt like, and Wayne was just like, he said something like, "I'm very sorry. I'll see y'all next time." And he like walked off stage.
That was the only part you could hear was him apologizing.
Oh,
Yeah, because that was
Lil
when
Wayne
he
finally got the
talked
mic
into
on.
the mic. That was
Yeah,
when he
yeah.
talked into the mic. So it
Oh,
was
yeah.
just listen. Before I let go, I'm a big hater when it comes to the song "Sweet Home Alabama." Not only is it played
Okay.
out, but you can look out for that song. You can read the Wikipedia. Like, it's a response to Neil Young did a song called "Southern Man" that was calling out Alabama for being, for having a
Racist,
racist
yeah.
governor. And then they did "Sweet Home Alabama" as a way of like just saying, "Hey, shut up.
We're
Neil
proud to
Young."
be racist. Leave us alone with our racism. Yeah.
So you gonna play it?
Oh wait,
I'm saying that's the
Never
song
again.
I don't need to hear.
Never
I
again.
got you. Oh my,
Like,
my bad.
oh no, it's an attack interview.
I didn't realize there'd be gotcha
Damn.
questions like that.
I didn't know gotcha. They're gonna be gotcha questions.
No,
So that's probably
no
mine.
gotcha. No gotcha. I'm a big fan of the one song. I really
Thank you.
really like what you guys are doing, and I like the riffs and stuff and conversations that come out of it. It reminds me of when I worked for Diallo on Sherman.
Nah, man, you
Showcase.
worked with me, and let me just say, man, no, for real, I know exactly. When we were in that room, in that writers' room, like, we had so much fun. Just like I would say, our best ideas came from us just sitting in the room talking music.
talking about music,
know.
and I noticed that you have such an eclectic taste. You could kind of speak everybody in the room's music language.
I feel like music. I think I will say this: Kevin Hart, when he said y'all can do this podcast, one of the things he said was like, "I love music because I feel like music brings people together." It's one of the first things I end up talking to people about because you can learn a lot about a person from the kind of music they're into. Whether they wear it on their sleeve or on a T-shirt, or it's not obvious at all. It tells you a lot about how like they digest the world. So yeah, I mean, like, one of the things I'm excited about, when I met Luxury, we were really into like Daft Punk, a lot of electronic music, a lot of that kind of stuff. When I met you, I felt like you were an encyclopedia for like R&B, just everything for the 90s forward. And you know about some stuff that I don't know, which always gets me excited. I like not knowing stuff.
I'm always caught in a little wormhole. I'm always like digging for stuff, and I think that's what I appreciate about what y'all do is that it's like, oh, the fellow diggers. You guys
Yeah.
are talking about not just the release.
He said diggers, y'all. He said diggers.
Yeah, they know.
It's not that kind of podcast.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, but not today.
Sometimes.
But like y'all talk about the artwork for the single.
Yeah.
Y'all talk about who wrote for it, what the rollout was like. What you felt like the first time you saw it. Like it's everything outside of just, oh, here's some info about this song.
No, seriously, it's music nerddom, and if you come across some fellow music nerds, you can just have a whole lot of fun. So yeah, we'll talk about that first Amy Winehouse single and how she appeared on that cover, looking like she had dreadlocks, and they browned up her skin. It was like that infamous Newsweek cover with OJ, where they made him look real dark skinned. They made Amy look, she looked like a Nubian princess, and then of course, once we found out the truth, we still loved her. By the way, going back to what we were saying about the stems, when you hear Amy's vocals, with nothing on them, literally nothing on them, Amy Winehouse's vocals will give you chills. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Her, Freddie Mercury, Stevie Wonder, he's doing riffs on riffs. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. There are some other artists, I'll go there. Like, there's some other artists, Britney Spears on Toxic, where when you strip out all the background singers, there's almost no vocals there. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
We had
it's
such a
kinda
hard
crazy.
time. We had a hard time at the end of that finding a way
Yeah.
to like not make it sound like we were slamming Britney Spears.
And we're not, because I will say the last little part that Britney added on there, it's that,
important.
Yeah. Like it's like that little bit of spice.
Right. But without
I
it,
didn't even say tox.
you need
She
that
just said
spice.
it. That's crazy.
Yeah. You need that spice, but it is
It's just tox
a small
without her.
It is a small part of the whole of the song, though, to be clear. It's not
So,
the whole thing.
Like when you have a song like that, that's like a pop song from that era, a lot of stacking.
Yeah.
So you have each individual.
Yes.
Oh my God, that
Joy-
one was a nightmare for me to prep in particular, because a lot of times we'll have kind of like the bass line. Maybe the drums are like the kick, the snare, the overheads, and whatever it is. That one I had to go through 300 files.
300 layers.
I've still never heard everything that I have, which I'll go back someday when I have more time, when we do the season long version of the Toxic Pod episode we did, because there's so much. There's take after take after take.
Yes.
There's like little ideas they tried, and like, no, let's not do that. Like the bass line, it's got that kind of wet, disgusting, kind of like awesome, disgusting, wet, funky sound on top of it. Well, I've got like a version without that, where they tried different ideas. There's 300 things to listen to, so it took a while to like narrow it down.
And it's all like polished to within an inch of its life.
That's
I mean,
right.
like there were about four female voices on that song.
Really?
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of female voices on that song, and it's not necessarily Britney's that forms like the heft of what you're hearing every word. So like,
Wow.
So on our podcast, we can be like, oh, this woman, her name is Emma,
Yeah.
you know, and this is her part, and you're like, that's not the Britney part. No, that's not. And this is not to pull back the curtain. We're not actually even taking an adversarial approach to this. It's more about like, these are how your different songs come together, and some of it might surprise you. For example, we just did an episode about Prince, Let's Go Crazy.
Okay.
And one of my favorite artists of all time, it was interesting to me, and it was Luxxury who put me onto this, like, by playing me the stems, it's not all perfectly lined up the way that Britney track is. You know what I mean? Like, in fact, it's kind of like rough and rugged, in part because Prince is playing so many instruments. You know what I mean? Like, and the vibe I get is that not only is this a man who listens to, you know, a lot of rock and punk, and he wants it to have sort of like that lo-fi sound, but it's also like, I feel like he's an artist who gets into the moment. So it's not always going to line up perfectly. You know what I'm saying? So when like you listen to his vocals, like that thing is peaking, you know, like the people who know audio and stuff, like he's in the red. Like he's very much in the red, even especially when he gets to "Take Me Away." Like,
But that's a really important part of the show
it.
for me as a producer and songwriter myself, is to educate people like on both sides of the studios, as it were, both listeners but also music makers, that this pursuit of perfection and the pursuit of like cleanliness in the recording, all this is really, it's overrated, and you can really go down a rabbit hole of thinking you need to learn all the rules and obey all the rules. The fact of the matter is, so much of the best, most famous, iconic music has clams in it, has mistakes in it, has little imperfections.
One of my
in it.
favorite iconic tracks that has mistakes in it is Big Tuck's "Not a Stain on Me." So many mistakes. So many mistakes in that song. And I would put it in the pantheon of great tracks that not enough people know.
Big Tuck's Not a Stain on Me.
Yeah. Woo!
I love when there's a lot of nicknames. Okay. Some Beastie Boys in there.
Got a Beastie Boy sample in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good call. I hear that.
Get money. I like artists. I like an artist like Big Tuck who's not afraid to talk over the first 30 seconds of the track.
Yeah. That's
to me is-
one of my favorite things in rap is just when they get to talking. You know who's underrated as a talker on a song? Birdman.
Yeah, I can see that.
Birdman, because it's like he's bragged about so much, but yeah, he's able to just like, hey, if you need 30 seconds, I'll curse someone out who's not involved with this record at all. You know, I would, hey, I got these boys iced up enough. You know, like I'm working to get everybody a chain. Everybody's got a chain. You know.
By the way, one of the hardest things about bringing it, Hood Rich. Is that the track by Big Timers? Is the talking. For some reason, it's actually kind of a hard song as a DJ to mix in because of the talking at the top.
Right.
let's.
What's up, Fresh? It's our turn. Oh, yeah,
I like the
yeah.
fact that we can say
What's
something.
up,
quick.
Fresh? Is our turn, baby.
So wait, as a DJ,
As a DJ,
that's problematic.
Yes, when you come in right on the first note, that's a hard. That's that
up?
you know, because it doesn't even give you like a cut. Like no, it just comes
Yeah.
right in.
So
And
you gotta almost like punch
Yeah,
it
you
to
just gotta
zero.
That's what we. There's there are many names for it. I used to personally call it like a smash and go.
Okay,
You know, because
okay.
like you just had to like bring that track in like you know, like
Got you.
and you just had to hope that the levels were about right and all that kind of stuff. You know, we talk about that on the show with Mo Money Mo Problems, like that little glissando at the beginning, like that. Like you can't. It makes it hard to mix in. You know what I'm saying? Like Pharrell figured it out. He always gave you like a yo's that. You know, like he always gave you like that little count in. That always helped out a lot.
I got you. Luxury, do you DJ as well?
I do. You know what? This man though is such a professional. We have a night together with our buddy Daisy, the three of us, and the two of them. These are hardcore professional, like many years of experience. I'm always learning from their experience. So my DJing comes from my being a maker of edits and music. So like when I DJ, it's like I'm usually playing
He's a good DJ.
a lot of my own stuff, but like I don't have the skills to go down what he was just describing. It's like I have not learned how to properly mix in something that does not want to be mixed in easily. I got to stop the first one and start the next one. You know, you put a little reverb on the first thing, or you mix it in with some delay. I have all these fancy things to do, but nothing that is quite as clean as what Diallo knows how to do.
No, I feel that. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I would be the type to be like, you know, Prince. He put mistakes in Let's Go Crazy.
Yeah. So,
Like, you know, sometimes
mistakes
that's
are
what you
good.
got to do. You
you
know?
know what? You got to educate the people. Mistakes make the DJ set better.
Try and blend like, you know, because the 70s are the worst. Like try and blend like Sly or
Anything with live drums, forget about
Earth,
it.
Wind and Fire
Yeah.
in with the Brothers Johnson. That's tricky stuff. That's tricky stuff.
Yeah, but and you know, back in those days, they were mixing it by, you know, putting the volume up and you know,
Or they would look at the label, like exactly on the label where it would come in. They would see, you know, it's right here where it comes in. Like that's the old school way to do it.
Yeah.
Like Cool Herc and like, you know, merry-go-round. Like that's
But
how
you know,
they did it.
that actually still works, and I always respect DJs who actually don't have to. Like I notice almost every West Coast DJ will make perfect blends. No.
Not that kind of West Coast.
What I'm saying, when I go to West Coast parties, West Coast DJs usually do perfect blends, whereas if you go to a New York party, the DJ will be playing something, and then all the music come out. Yo, where in Brooklyn at? Where all my Brooklyn people at? Where all my Brooklyn people? And then like he goes to the next song. Like West Coast DJs don't really do that.
That's another technique.
You know what I mean? Like
Talk
just,
in
like,
between.
talk in between, or just a you know, bring in the next beat and don't even try and blend it.
Yeah.
Atlanta does a lot of that too sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because it can get monotonous if you're trying to blend everything, because at some point, like, people got to switch it up, you know? They might be tired of dancing with somebody.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, I don't think DJs always get credit for crowd control. But sometimes, you know, if you get it too turned, it's almost like a problem, you know? You need to throw in a monkey wrench to get people to be like, you know what, I need a drink. Or else the
You gotta
bar's
clear the
upset.
floor. You gotta clear the floor
I've
sometimes.
seen nights where DJ, they've gone so hard that the bar's been like, nobody's buying a drink, everyone's having fun.
Yeah.
Stop making them have fun the
Right.
whole night.
That's not what you're here for, DJ. You're here to make them drink, not
Right.
dance.
Yeah.
Dancing a second.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember. One of the first times I went to a club, the DJ put on "Tear the Club Up," and the owner was like, "You can't play this song." Like it was the most banned song in the South because, and I thought it was brilliant. It was like, you know, like I always feel like baby boomers are always like, the Who has the most brilliant band name of all time, because it's like, what's the name of the band? The Who, the band, the Who. Like to me, "Tear the Club Up" is the hip hop equivalent of that.
That's the Abbott and Costello
Because
of
you're
rap.
in the club and they're telling you to tear the club up.
Yeah.
I thought it was the most subversive track. One of the most subversive tracks of all time.
Also, this song, according to DJ Paul, there was a club that they had a dispute. They weren't getting paid.
Oh, damn.
And so then they
That's
came
what started
back
the
and they
chant?
were like, tear the club up. Like, what do you mean we're not getting paid? Yeah, I was playing Little League Baseball when this came out, and big hit in the dugout.
Rage.
Shout out to Diallo throwing his own water, not sacrificing
Well,
We
one
appreciated
of our
that,
waters for
you
the
know,
bit.
you
I
invested
really
a lot
appreciate
of time and money into the studio. I don't really want to tear this club up, but I
That's
had to.
the
I
power
had
of
to.
that song.
I had to put you in 1997.
Right.
when that was a thing.
One time I was dancing in a club, and it was during A3C, and DJ Paul walks in the club.
Wow.
And he sees me, and he's like, hey, man, what the hell y'all brung me to? I guess I was dancing too hard for him.
Why did he single you out like that?
I mean, like, it was, I was
You were just
jamming.
having fun.
Yeah, I was having
You were having fun.
But I don't think
How old
he
were
was.
you at the time?
Oh, I was in my 20s. Yeah. But I don't think he was ready for just a sweaty dude by the door jamming, you know?
That's sexism, because I guarantee you, if you had been a girl,
If
you'd
I had
been
been a
like,
girl, you'd be
all
like,
right, I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm with it. But it was a dude. Hey, man, I feel like we should do a whole episode about just experiences in Atlanta clubs, because there's so much to talk about. I'll never forget the first time I ever heard Master P. I was
Okay.
standing outside of Club XS in Decatur, and there was a car driving by, and it was blasted. I don't even think it was Ice Cream Man. I think it was something before that. But all I remember, everybody in line knew every single song. I knew every single lyric to this song, and I looked at the person in front of me. I was like, what is that? Hey, you ain't up on... I try to remember what he said to me exactly, because it's funny, but it was something like, hey, little monster, you ain't know about that. That is Master P right there. That's from New Orleans right there. And I remember thinking, like, Master P, what is this about?
Right.
And then, of course, I bought all the Master P CDs for the next couple of years, because Master P, without any radio play, just took over everybody's car with a CD player.
The back of a No Limit CD would have all the other coming soon CDs. It's like the back of a Ninja Turtle,
or like a
figure,
movie trailer or something like that. It
yeah.
said like, "Hey, you might have just bought me an X, but Skullduggery coming next month."
For sure.
It was I mean, like, just some of the best Southern music before it got really commercialized. But
Yeah.
I will say, and this is just being truthful, like, he got away with murder lyrically.
Yeah.
Master P got away with murder.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to me, the telltale lyric is, I forget which song it is, but he was like, I got to make money. And if I die in this game, I guess that wouldn't be funny.
Oh boy.
I was like, he got away with that?
I mean, he would take songs like "Dumb Girl" by
Run DMC.
Run DMC and turn it into "Thug Girl." You know, it's like
Which is an interpolation.
Yeah.
it's like almost a parody.
With a
Luxxury-
clavinet in it. Yeah.
Oh,
No, can I just say real quick, this Luxxury is the king of interpolation, and one of the
Okay.
examples that I always use when I talk about interpolation is how he took Summer Breeze and he made it Smoking Weed. So it's smoking weed makes me feel high.
Ooh.
Cause all I got is chronic on my mind.
That's the one.
Wow.
Perfect interpolation.
But it's interpolation. And
It's not a
you
sample,
speak about interpolation on TikTok all the time.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. I do these TikTok little videos about song sources and the difference. A lot of times, I mean, early on it was explaining this is a sample, this is not a sample, it's an interpolation, as Diallo just expressed. It's not the actual recording reused in the new track. It's the idea or the melody that's been, the lyrics have been changed and they re-sing it. So that's the main thing. But that idea, I think, is really like, it's not that it's new to many people, but it's a word that gives like a word to something they already knew existed, but it's like, I can put my hat down here and I know what this is called now.
Yeah.
I have a word for this, because a lot of people just use the word sample for everything. And there's a big difference between a sample and an
I think
interpolation.
I used the word
Gotcha.
sample
Yeah.
for everything until I looked at because I used to read the liner notes back when you used to.
Yeah, I was just thinking the first time I saw interpolation,
Yeah, it was in liner notes,
the liner
probably.
notes for Jay-Z's Unplugged.
Oh, yeah,
because they
really?
had to interpolate everything because
Oh,
it's a
'cause the
band
Roots.
Right.
doing it.
Because
right?
yeah,
Questlove loves interpolating
samples,
during
right.
concert.
And I was like, oh, they trying to be smart. Like, they just put a big word in there. They mean sample. Okay. MTV all fancy, interpolate.
But I feel
Yeah.
like the people who really put interpolation and hip hop on the map is Death Row, because I feel like the East Coast would sample. DJ
Yeah.
Premier, he's sampling, Pete Rock is sampling. I always got the sense Suge was like, man, just get your cousin to sing the hook. And so
Right.
it'd be like, people out here jealous because they be messing with Death Row. Because I had the clean CD. Oh, I just, I had All Eyes on Me, the not explicit, the C. Dolores Tucker approved version.
But yeah, no, there's so many interpolations. But also they get to change stuff and get to make stuff slightly different in theirs, you know?
and you save money. It's like it costs about half as much, to interpolate, and you
And
don't
that
have
was
to like
music to Master P's ears.
yeah,
'cause
and you didn't have to get
he had 18 more albums to put out that month.
he had a time crunch. It's just faster to get all the
He
approvals.
did have a time crunch. One of my favorite Master P interludes, it starts off with somebody picking up a phone and say hello, and then it's P's voice. He's like, y'all in the studio. And I told my friend, that's how P was. P was always making sure somebody was in that studio.
Somebody better be in the studio.
24/7.
Silk the Shocker.
I own
Somebody-
it 24/7. Somebody better Beats by
See
the
Murder.
pound. Shout out to them because they had to make all those beats.
They had to make
20
26
track
beats.
albums.
Someone was on the 3 a.m. shift.
And that
Yeah.
wasn't counting the hidden tracks because this is the CD era. So there might be hidden tracks after that last track that are like 30
Yeah.
minutes in.
There's
I
like-
always wondered, did they have like a writing staff to come up with the jokey interludes? Like, were they like, hey, who's gonna write the girl giving head in studio skit?
I think that's why they were so cool with comedians. I think that's why
Yeah.
they made like Foolish and they had,
That's right.
Eddie Griffin.
Eddie Griffin, yeah.
And, they
I was
had
always convinced
AJ Johnson.
Eddie probably introduced like Snoop and all them together. It had to be because it's like a small world like that.
Yeah. I saw Eddie Griffin. Is he in Honey? He's in the Honey video. So he was West Coast and East Coast
He was like Raekwon. Raekwon was showing up in MC8 videos and of course on the East Coast. It was heady days, man. It's hilarious
Yeah.
now when you look back because I heard somebody else say it was maybe who was talking about that. Somebody online was talking about we hadn't lost anybody yet. So but I know who it was. Damn, I'm not going to remember. You can cut all this.
All right.
But he was saying that one of the reasons why he thought after he heard Hit 'Em Up, it was on Michael Rappaport's show. He was like, after he heard Hit 'Em Up, he's like, oh, someone's going to die. He's
Oh,
like,
man.
But anyway, this is sad. Let's get this.
An interpolation of Dennis Edwards. Luxury, where are you from originally?
Don't go any further.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Oh, you're right. It is actually. I just heard that in my head. Yeah, good call. That bass line, and then it gets used for what is that? No, sorry. There's the Mars track, but I'm getting confused with what's the what Ofra Haza. There's an Eric B and Rakim track that uses that.
Oh.
Paid in full.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Tip of my tongue. That's got the same bass line too, right? Dun, 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 dun. I don't know
And
if
with
that's an
that reference,
interpolation.
this is an officially of 50 years of hip hop.
I know. That was 40 years ago. It's crazy. Or 35. I'm from San Francisco, the Bay Area.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All
Just
right.
up the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said came to LA, and then I was like, I don't think I ever established.
Yeah,
where you
I came to
from.
LA in 07, 08 for a publishing deal, which meant I was like trying to write hit songs for like Britney Spears and Justin Bieber. I did not write any hit songs for Britney Spears. So here I am doing podcasts. No, actually, I like this direction worked out better because the fact is what I learned, by the way, is how difficult that is to write, to construct a hit song. It seems easy. It's a formula. You just put a pretty girl and whatever melody. We all know this to be like oversimplified. And I know from firsthand experience because I was behind the scenes trying to do it. And it's a real, like, it's fun, but every day you're meeting someone new, you're sitting down in the studio. And I was a track guy, so I'd make music, and I would meet every day. A new singer would be sent to me by a different publisher. They were in charge of what's called the top line, so it's lyrics and melody. We'd say, "Nice to meet you." Start to like vibe a little bit, like, "What are you up to?" "Oh, I broke up with my boyfriend." "Oh," and we started talking about music, and then we would try to write a song, and it would usually be one, maybe two every day. So that was my life when I first moved to LA for like 3 years, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a fun job, but like the ones that make it, like, have a different skill set than I do because like it wasn't a fit for me in terms of like the decisions that you've got to make to kind of work backwards a little bit from what works and then add your own kind of special sauce. I was doing the opposite. I was like, I'm making these really cool kind of obscure funk disco tracks that are a little bit dusty, and then we're going to have Britney Spears sing on it. And the world was like, nah, we're not doing that. That's not what's happening here.
Was there certain like math and like formulas applied? And like
That's exactly the word. So famously, Max Martin, who's the biggest probably hit maker of our era, he did, and he's behind the scenes, so not everyone knows that names, but he did
Backstreet.
He did
and all
Backstreet.
that
He did
stuff.
Hit Me One More Time for Britney. He's got hits pretty much every year for the past 30 years. He's had a number one or maybe more than one. So he does have what he refers to as music math, like you just said. And there is something formulaic that his brain knows that my brain doesn't. But he does have some degree to which he kind of knows that we're in the ballpark if we're doing these things. And then we can kind of be creative around it. And of course, lyrically, that's where you have the most freedom, is like the specific storytelling and the specific voice. But there are certain elements that I've come to understand, but I don't know what they are, where if you work from that music math, you're like halfway there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I always wondered, because I feel like, if you listen to the radio long enough, you listen to popular music long enough, you do hear patterns, you do hear trends.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, I wonder how many people, when they're trying to catch one, as they say, are paying only attention to that.
You have to be kind of
versus-
looking ahead. It's true, because if you're aiming for what's right now, you're already behind by 12, 18 months.
You missed the wave.
You missed it. There's little subtle shifts over the years. Like you'll kind of notice, like over time. A really easy one to point out is like we used to have bridges. We used to have like verse, chorus, second verse, second chorus, and then we'd have 8 bars that was totally different. And then you come back for the last chorus. And it's called a bridge. It's usually 8 bars or a middle 8, like in the Beatles era, they'd call it a middle 8. And we kind of stopped having those towards the end of the 80s, early 90s. Definitely by the time the early 2000s roll around, there are not a bridge to be seen.
I mean,
but Beyonce and Lady Gaga, among others, start to bring them back. Start to bring them back. So these things kind of come and go with the trends. But
I'll say the current trend that I've noticed as a DJ is the 1.5 minute song. Like it can be a really big,
absolutely
it could
right.
be a
Less
really
than
big
2
song.
minutes.
But like I think it was like
that's a
Spot 'em Got 'em.
Spotify thing.
When Spot 'em Got 'em came out with that song, and it was like a minute and 30 seconds. I was like, this would have been like a demo track.
Yeah,
I
think
now
Lil
it's
Nas
the
X
song.
did that too.
Project 13 minutes, 6 tracks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Is that true?
That's
then
it.
you get more plays on Spotify. You get more people.
Yeah, because
like,
it's Spotify. It's
Yep.
all, you
100%.
don't need a 3.5 minute song.
Yeah.
People are like, what is this the Zack Snyder edition?
It's less of a commitment to the song. It's like, I'm going to click on this one over this one because if I don't like it, it'll waste less of
and
my
they'll
time.
speed it up. They'll take the minute and a half song and it'll be sped up.
Turn it into 35 seconds.
Yeah.
I heard this this manager talk about how people don't want to hear the big note anymore. And he referred
What's
to
the
it
big note?
like in the in the R&B
highest
song
note in
when
the
people
song.
like that Whitney Houston moment that
Mariah.
like that like that big
They
note.
don't want the big note.
That's what he said, and he was like, people don't want to hear all that vocal flexing. And I was like, you mean singing? You mean the whole reason we're paying you all this money because you have this thing that everybody
Vocal
can't do?
flexing.
Vocal flexing is
AKA
what
singing.
what
We
he
don't want to
it
hear
as.
all that non-humble
Yeah.
singing anymore.
Stop showing off. Jesus Christ.
You're making
Keep it
us
in your
feel
pants.
bad. Same with rapping. We don't want to hear all those bars. We just want to hear
Yeah.
something that we could
Too
have
many
made
notes.
up.
Metaphor
Yeah.
flexing. Yeah.
Rhyme
Annoying.
flexing.
Boring.
That's hilarious.
Diallo Luxury, what's your favorite color sky?
Damn, I feel so basic saying blue.
That feels like a trick question.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Magenta. I love sunsets.
Okay.
There you
Okay. Magenta.
You really
It
going
doesn't have to
on
be
a limb
one
with that
color.
one. Loving sunsets, a risky thing to say on the air. I also love sunsets. I
man.
can't beat. Those are the two great answers, and I can't think of other ones.
See,
So
I got you.
I was sky color flexing, and then I set a trend.
I was impressed. I couldn't best it.
Okay. What's a song that you like to hear in the morning? Like first thing in the morning, how would you want to start your day? What
That's a
song?
great question.
I always answer questions like this, and I'm just going to keep saying this before I answer questions every time in the world, because my answer is never a thing that I've sat down and really thought about.
And it probably won't be the same tomorrow.
Right.
The answer is always whatever popped in my head, and it's probably what happened this morning. So the answer is this morning.
Okay.
I put on, because I just went vinyl shopping for my birthday, and I happened to I never had a copy of that first Eurythmics record. So Love is a Stranger by Eurythmics.
Okay.
Which is their first single, but then it didn't do too well. And then after Sweet Dreams, they brought it back for another go. And I think it didn't do as well as Sweet Dreams. That's the iconic Eurythmics song, but it's so good. Love is a Stranger by Eurythmics. That was my this morning song. This one, so good.
Okay. I can
Fucking
see this.
Annie Lennox, man.
I can see
Underrated.
the barefoot getting out of the bed.
Because you got that craft work is happening now, basically. This is synth pop, Depeche Mode, 80s. And then Annie comes in. This warm Scottish voice. So sexy. So I just love that mix. Human and machine. That's my favorite mix right there.
Human and machine.
When that comes together in a song in this way, that's my favorite kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see how y'all. You said y'all connected on Daft Punk.
Exactly
Did
right.
y'all watch the Daft Punk doc?
I haven't seen it.
I think I haven't seen it.
Wait, who did it?
It's maybe came out in the last maybe 5 years. It was on like Showtime or something.
Okay.
But they go through their whole trajectory of how they didn't wear masks at first.
Oh, I know
the
that.
first time they did
Yeah,
press, they went to like a costume store and got some little thin, bank robber mask.
First
or
time I
whatever.
ever saw Daft Punk live was 2000. I was in Miami at Winter Music Conference, and they were DJing on Nikki Beach, and this is like before the robots.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They're just two dudes, So I feel like life, people who've been following them since the Homework album, like myself, it was always interesting to me when they decided to no longer do stuff without the helmets, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I was sad to see him go, because I feel like even though Human After All and the last one, Random Access Memories,
Mm-hmm.
These will never stack up to Discovery. I just feel like Discovery is a perfect album. I haven't even told Luxury this, but there's a part of me that wants to do a break the format of our podcast and do like the same way like people do podcasts that recap an episode of a show. I was thinking we should do a podcast where we just go through the entire Discovery album.
I love that idea, and I want to do it.
And just
100%.
and talk about, because I think it's one of those few albums. I think Discovery by Daft Punk is a perfect album. I think Purple Rain by Prince is a perfect album. I think Illmatic by Nas is a perfect album. In fact, one thing that we'll do on our podcast sometimes, we'll play our own version of One Has to Go, which is essentially perfect album, but the worst song.
Right. We just did that with
Okay.
Thriller, and we
all we
totally
do-
agreed
Oh
on
yeah,
that.
that was a big controversy in the room. I was the only one in the Sherman's room that didn't like Baby Be Mine.
I don't like Baby Be Mine either.
He's
Come
on
on.
that with you. He's on that, and y'all are both incredibly wrong.
No, it's not a good song.
Incredibly
It's
wrong.
not a
Y'all
good
are
song.
crazy.
That's so skippable.
Crazy. In fact, it might be
Time.
it might be my second favorite song on the whole album.
I feel like
I hate it when it starts. Da 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 da. Don't don't don't.
You're insane.
I hate.
You're
that
you're
song,
losing followers.
But you also had
that
me
sound is people hitting unfollow.
when we discussed on our latest episode of One Song Come Together. On that episode, we talk about the Paul McCartney Michael Jackson
Yes.
song exchange, and I will agree with you
No,
that
so,
Michael got the
yes.
crappy end of the deal by
So,
getting
This is
Right.
"The
this
Girl
is,
Is Mine."
when you're an artist or you're trying to create something.
Should've
Rob
been
knows how I
say,
feel
say,
about
say.
this. I'm always very against overthinking it, and this is a classic example of overthinking it. So when they were recording Thriller, Michael Jackson reaches out to Paul McCartney. He's like, "I want to do a song with you," and they end up doing two.
Mm-hmm.
They do "The Girl Is Mine" for Paul's album,
Yeah.
and they do "Say Say Say" for Thriller,
which is a banger.
And then at some point, Michael and Paul decide, what would be crazy is
Makes
if
me
we
mad.
took "The Girl Is Mine" and put that on Thriller, and "Say Say Say" and put that on your album. So
Fucking
now
got
"Say
it
Say Say"
backwards.
is almost like a forgotten Michael Jackson.
That's what I'm
gem.
saying.
Yeah.
And
And
"The
it's
Girl
got
Is
a video.
Mine," "The Girl
Yeah.
Is Mine" is
It's too
easily.
good.
"The Girl Is Mine" is easily the most skippable song on
I mean,
Thriller.
it's a tie between "Baby Be Mine" and "The Girl Is Mine," but "Say Say Say" on that album would have made
Hey,
Thriller.
I'm trying to build a bridge like Beyonce.
But what
so
about- I'm
you
gonna
want to
go
go
even
back
further.
to our beef?
Can we?
Let's do it.
Can we take out "Baby Be Mine" and replace it? I'm going to go even
No,
deeper.
no, we
listen.
can't.
Wait, just wait until I tell you, because it might be a good idea that you're stomping on.
No.
What if it were real deep cut here? Farewell, My Summer Love. Remember that one?
By
That is-
Michael?
Yes. Do you not know this one?
Can you play that? Please?
I'm stumped.
Farewell, My Summer Love.
They got me and Robert stuff because I thought I was looking
That's
like
one
a
of those
jerk.
songs that kind of gets like, it's a Motown recorded track, so they like only release it as like a competitive.
Farewell. What year did it come out?
I'm going to go with 81, 82, but it's
Wait,
like,
what?
it's a good tune.
Let's hear it. Okay, I can say "Baby Be Mine" stays.
Nuh-uh.
"Baby Be Mine" could easily stay for this. Man, this is Michael Jackson at 13 years old.
Right.
"Baby Be Mine,
This
Be
is
Mine."
It's like
Barry
80, 81.
Gordy.
It's so Barry
hey,
Gordy.
what do we got?
No,
back
no,
there?
no. Mm-mm.
It's
Hey,
very transitional.
Pause it.
It's very transitional, but it's better than Baby Be Mine.
Whew.
I'm going to the mat
Hey,
on
that's-
this
that's-
because I
that's a
got
hot
I
take.
got support in the room.
That's a hot
so I'm feeling
take, Skip.
comfortable.
That's a hot
Back
take,
me
Skip.
up, Rob.
I gotta go back and
No,
really
I have
revisit
something
this
for the Thriller.
Farewell, My Summer Love, but
Farewell that song.
Yeah.
Farewell that
Oh,
song.
hey,
come
Listen,
on.
I
I
kind
have
of
a
like the
song.
evolution afterwards. She's
I
out of my
understand.
life, you know?
She's out of my life is good. Listen,
Forget Farewell, My Summer Love. She's gone.
she's the transition from
hear
old Mike to new Mike. Well, I'll say off the wall Mike. I would
Right.
say is the Gamble and Huff stuff that they did, like "Show Me the Way" by the Jacksons. Like that's a great transition song. You can
Right.
hear how he was heading towards Off the Wall. But if you want to go with Thriller and you want to go with a song that didn't make the cut but is not available anywhere, I think it's available on the 40th. Play me a little bit of Sunset Driver and maybe just go
Okay.
to like the middle. Do you know this track?
I don't know.
This is a fun one. This is a Thriller era Michael Jackson.
Farewell, My Summer Love. It didn't sound like he had glitter socks.
I'm not going to lie to you. When you played it in the room, I was like, no, I don't like that one anymore. Okay, this fits sonically more.
This feels
Yeah,
off the
it's
wall.
more of the
Wait,
era.
Listen to that minor
Yeah.
chord though.
That's
Wait,
some
hold on.
sick playing,
I
too.
thought I kind of wanted to skip to the middle, but
Louis
anyway.
Johnson
Oh,
on
my
bass,
bad.
probably.
Here we go.
Is that Louis
Here we
Johnson
go.
on bass?
This is all the Thrillers.
It's all the Quincy guys?
It's an early demo on Thriller.
Oh, then it's all the Quincy guys, yeah. Yeah, I want this song.
Yeah, this is hard.
But it is definitely more off the wall.
Sunset Driver.
It's more off the wall.
It's between the two. As I believe it's
Okay.
between the two. I believe it's after Off the Wall, but before Thriller. Yeah, I believe it's a Thriller demo, but you know what? The internet will tell me if it's Off the Wall.
I'm not
demo.
surprised
It's a
they
demo.
left it off
It's a
there
demo.
because it is more off the wall than it is Thriller, but it's still a sick
Yeah,
song.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's,
good call.
It's a good song. Is there a least favorite on Purple Rain?
Okay, this is
We had
very
this
controversial because I actually feel like there is not a single bad song on Purple Rain. I just feel that way. There's not one song I feel comfortable losing.
I think we have 8 A
So-
Feel like
pluses
that?
and 1 B plus on that record.
Okay, so what is the song? So again, playing perfect album but worst song, and it gets harder when the album gets better. What is your choice?
It feels like it was. So they added the last song to get added is the B plus song, and it's
I disagree. I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead, say it.
it's the one that starts out.
Why do you hate drum fills at the beginning of the song? He's saying "Take Me With You."
Take Me With You?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he's
all right.
nuts, right?
It's all right.
Luxury's
Come
nuts.
on.
It should not
Okay,
be
see,
song number
you
2 on
lost
the
him.
album.
You
It should
lost
not be
him,
song number
Luxury.
2 on the
No.
album.
Boo.
It
Take Me
shouldn't
With
be
You is
song number 2.
fantastic.
It's a B plus. It's not terrible.
No,
but it's
bro.
not A plus level like everything else.
It's
no beautiful
It's when
ones.
he's riding
It's
that
no
motorcycle
computer
by the
blue.
lake, and it's a great song.
Okay,
It's a
I'm
great
saying
song.
I'm hearing myself out loud, and you know what? It's neck and neck with "Baby I'm a Star," but only because
Why
that's
are you
part
throwing
of
that out too? That's
because
a great song.
That's
No.
the conversation.
No,
you got to
no, no.
take one out.
Okay, well that's your opinion. That's fine. I will tell you. I think and this is look. I'm saying going in. This is a hard decision because
No one said it easy.
Let's Go Crazy, Take Me With You, Computer Blue, Darling Nikki.
Beautiful ones.
What's the beautiful one? Beautiful ones.
Maybe the
what's
best
on the back?
on side 1.
Baby, I'm a Star. I Would Die for You. I mean, like this is an amazing album.
Right.
When Doves
Believe it
Cry.
or not, the one album that I think you could lose is it's hard,
Okay.
and you would still have really just amazing. So I think, believe it or not, I think it might be Darling Nikki because other than the controversy of that song, other than like the. I don't want to lose anything. I don't want to lose Baby I'm a Star. I don't want to lose I Would Die for You. I don't want to lose Purple Rain, obviously. You know, I can't. The Beautiful Ones is fantastic. Computer Love is like amazing.
Computer Blue,
So
yeah.
I just don't know what else you lose. You're definitely not going to lose Let's Go Crazy.
Well, you said definitely not everything except Take Me
Except-
With You.
except-
You did that.
no.
That is
Take me.
in the-
I've already
Oh,
made the
okay.
case. I love Take Me With You.
All right.
I used to start
What
off
about
my
Baby, I'm a
DJ.
Star?
I used to start off my DJ sets with "Take Me With You."
Fine.
So "Take Me With You" stays.
What about
I
Baby,
think
I'm
the
a
thing
Star?
about Darling Nikki.
Wait, you started your DJ set with "Take Me With You"?
Oh, bro, listen. In the 2000s,
Are people there
He's a risk
yet?
taker.
Listen, in the
He's a risk
2000s,
taker.
in the 2000s,
He's a great DJ. No lie.
No,
the 2000s,
no,
yeah.
I've seen Diallo.
the
I'm
play
impressed
80s
by
came
that.
in the
also.
2000s.
impressed.
The 80s came back in a big way. And as a DJ, like that first song, is almost like for you. You just want to come in with something epic. And that drum fill at the beginning, "Take Me With You" is great.
Yeah.
Darling Nikki, as much as I love it, could have been a B-side because also you got to remember there's some other B-sides from Purple Rain that I think should have gone on the album, including Erotic City.
Oh, definitely
Erotic City is the
There you
B-side
go.
to
That's an
Let's
easy
Go.
win.
It's the
Would-
B-side to Let's
That's
Go
an
Crazy.
easy win. Yeah,
Erotic
you're
City
right.
could have been on there.
Totally.
Kiss 104, the old school station in Atlanta, they would back when people would call in for requests, people would call in for Erotic City and they'd be like, we don't have a version of this we can play
Yeah.
on the radio. Please stop asking.
Yeah.
Yes, it would fit in perfectly here, but please stop calling
Yeah.
for Erotic City. And that was like
Erotic
10
City was
years
great.
later.
We can funk. It's plausibly deniable that they're singing funk. It's definitely not funk, but it could be. You know what
could
I mean?
be
You could
funk.
kind of. You could talk to the FCC guy in your district and go, no, he's saying
Clearly,
funk.
that the funk button had
Yeah.
been pressed a lot in Atlanta, and they were fed up.
Yeah. They'd had enough.
Yeah.
What would be yours? What would be yours, Rob?
That's really
It's a hard
tough.
one, right?
That's the Purple Rain is really
Purple
tough,
Rain is a
'cause
hard one.
I feel like I can't think of anything.
By the way, not to
I
take
do
not to
like
get you.
saying B+. I do like that wording versus like it's trash. Get
Yeah,
it
no,
out of
there's
here.
no
I don't think
trash.
anybody's. There's no
there's
trash.
no
There's no trash
trash
on this album.
It's almost like, all right, if I would roll with "Take Me With You," but I like the drums on the top. That's the part
They
that
just
I'm
annoy
like,
me.
like
I'm a
crazy.
drummer too, and they just
I'm
annoy
a
me
drummer
for some
too.
reason.
I'm a drummer too.
I can't.
I'm a drummer too. You know, we went to the same high school. I was a
Yeah.
member of Atomic Thunder Drumline. Shout out to all the Atomic Rashid. Well, Rashid. I'd already messed up. It was Joe Wheeler, Tora Jones, all my friends. Listen. You know, another album. Not to delay delay this segment, but another album I love doing this with is Illmatic by Nas because there are so many good songs on that one.
Yeah.
So many good. But I'll tell you, I already know what my choice is. I think if the worst song on the album is "Represent," I think that's the worst song on the album.
I'll roll with that.
Yeah,
I'll roll.
that's the one that's
roll
most
with
trapped in like
Represent.
early '90s,
Yeah.
like represent,
Yeah.
represent. Like it's
I
like
don't feel cool. I sing along when I play it in the car, but I don't feel cool afterwards. I do feel kind of like
the best
all
thing
right.
about that song is the Nutcracker sample. That was cool, But other than that,
Right,
I feel like
right.
every other song, like New York State of Mind, is one of my favorite hip hop songs of all time.
Right.
Oh, but you gonna play the one I said to take off?
I'm just playing it for
Shots.
context for the people who Yeah, my bad. I'll add it in post.
Biggie, Ready to Die. I feel like I had a good one for that one too. It's fun to have to lose something that you think is damn near perfect.
What's crazy about Purple Rain is they said he made 1999 in Controversy and Purple Rain all at once. And was sending it around to people for notes like, hey, what do you think of these, albums? So to think that to hold on to Purple Rain in 82 because you're like, oh, this is gonna be for the movie.
The world's not ready for this.
Right. It's insanity.
It's crazy, man. I mean, his output in that little window is just, it's incredible. And I mean, he came out in 1980, not that many people are really even knowing who he is. You know what I mean? And then by 85, there's just no denying that he's the second biggest pop star. It was him, Madonna, and MJ just ruled that decade,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Shout out to George
No
Michael,
notes.
He was in there.
Rest
He was
in
in the
peace.
convo.
He was,
You
he
know?
was. Well,
Hey.
Wham was, and
Wham,
then, and then he went solo.
You see that Wham documentary?
I saw the Wham
It was
doc,
so good.
and-
Andrew Ridgely gets his flowers. So does he's been a punchline
Yeah.
for all these years.
Yeah.
I was so moved by him. It was his buddy.
It did seem like after a while George was like, "Hey, stop writing songs.
It's not happening, Andrew.
Go look at some track suits.
You're good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go get some highlights.
charge of
like,
fashion?
Yeah.
Choose some typefaces for the posters, but we don't really need you in the music department.
Luxury, do you got a pick for Illmatic?
You know what? I'm going to abstain on that one. I don't know the album well enough to go that deep
Okay.
on it. Yeah.
Okay.
But New York State of Mind.
I
is,
didn't want to exclude
No,
you.
New York State of Mind has actually been on heavy rotation, and my son can like recite every lyric because it's
dope.
been on heavy rotation with like the past 6 weeks. It's kind of funny you guys mentioned that one. So yeah,
Fire.
that was in our house a lot.
Thank y'all so much for coming on the pod.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having us.
As you can see, we could have talked about this for a whole nother hour.
For a whole nother hour. And yeah, no, I'm a big fan of what y'all do. One song, if you guys, have Sirius XM or any of the podcasts.
Yeah,
DSPs.
I think the main thing is download it off of any podcast, platform you got. It's called One Song. And if you do have Sirius XM, we're on channel 96 every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
Anything else you guys want to say to the people? Any last words?
Words? I mean, I'm Luxury. It's at Luxury, Luxxury. That's 2 X's on the socials. And I make music on Spotify, so you can hear us talking about music on the podcast and on my socials. I do those videos, and then you can listen to my tracks on Spotify and wherever else.
I'm at Diallo, Diallo, on Instagram, at Diallo Riddle on TikTok. But if anything, I just look forward to this strike being over and getting back in the writers' room with you, my man, so we can do some more TV. And Luxury, by the way, we worked on some of the music for that
Season
one show.
2. Yep.
Season 2 of that one show.
Mm-hmm,
So, when we start making more TV shows, we'll start making more music with him and with Fonte Coleman. Shout out to Fonte. That's the dude. That's the dude. I like making music with great and funny people. So, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, because of you, my IMDb says composer on it. So,
Well, no, because of you, it says composer. 'Cause you came up with some great lyrics, and yeah.
That's been the Inconsistent Podcast with Rob Haze. If you want to join the conversation, join us on Discord. Also, if you want to contribute, we're on Patreon. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Represent. Could have played anything else.